Hello and welcome to South Asia Chat, a podcast series brought to you by the Institute of South Asian Studies at the National University of Singapore. My name is Muhammad Saad Ul Haque. I'm a research analyst at ISAS, and I will be your host for today's episode, which looks at the current state of Pakistan and US relations. Today's discussion will revolve around the evolving relationship between the United States and Pakistan. Ever since Trump came to power, there have been a number of developments which have brought back this relationship into the spotlight. This includes the recent tariffs, Trump's role in the recent conflict with India, and the recent visit of General Asim Munir, Pakistan's Chief of Army Staff, to Washington. To speak on some of these developments today, I'm delighted to be joined by Ambassador Touqir Hussain, former Senior Diplomat of Pakistan, current Adjunct Professor at Georgetown University, and visiting Senior Research Fellow at ISAS. Thank you for joining us today, Ambassador.
Thank you.
So, I think a good place to start off this discussion would be to ask you how you would categorize the current state of US-Pakistan relations.
Saad, thank you so much for having me over. Before I come to the current state, I need to give you some background because the current state will not be sort of easily understandable if I don't give you the background. I will actually try to bring the background to the level which when the Trump administration starts, and then we can discuss what happened during that later on. The background, I will go back to the Afghanistan war, the last stages of the Afghanistan war. The war was failing and the United States was very frustrated with the failure, and the causes were multiple, but they were also blaming Pakistan basically as an scapegoat, but there was also some justification because they thought that the Pakistan's contribution through providing sanctuaries to the Taliban was effective. It wasn't entirely true, but it was convincing enough for the United States to blame Pakistan. So in that state, the first Trump administration came and started off very negatively towards Pakistan because he had been convinced by his national security advisor, McMaster, that Pakistan was the source of all problems and you need to find a military solution to Afghanistan, which can be possible. He tried and he failed again. So finally, I think he decided that the negotiated solution is the only way, and Pakistan played a part in it, for which Trump was grateful. It created a positive impression about Pakistan, although it didn't lead to any improvement in the relations, except that atmospherics improved. Imran Khan, who visited Washington in July 2019, was well received, and it was a very high visibility visit. He benefited, Imran Khan. Back home, it raised his stock, but essentially the relationship remained where it was, normal, but nothing extraordinary. And then came Biden. Biden didn't want to talk about Afghanistan because he was trying to avoid it, because otherwise the focus would have been on the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan, and that would have been politically very damaging to him. So he ignored Afghanistan, and along with ignoring Afghanistan, of course, he ignored Pakistan also. So Pakistan, during the initial period of Biden administration, suffered some degree of neglect from Biden. Biden was too obsessed with the Asia-Pacific, Indo-Pacific strategy and containment of China, and that also had a negative fallout for Pakistan. But as some degree of modus operandi with China was found by Biden during two G20 meetings, one in Bali and other in San Francisco, the relationship with Pakistan also slightly started picking up. There was a low intensity engagement going on a number of issues, principally on counterterrorism. It was in this state, the relationship, when Trump administration entered. So what the state of relations during Trump administration, that I can talk later.
Great. So obviously since Trump has returned to office, he's been quite strong on kind of his criticisms of different regimes and the tariffs and Pakistan is also one of the countries that's been affected by these Trump reforms. So how would you say that the current state of their relations has been affected by Trump's return to office a second time?
Yeah, it's a very complex sort of foreign policy being pursued by the Trump administration. There are two tracks. One track is being pursued by Marco Rubio, who has a lot of experience in foreign policy. And as a senator, he's smart, knowledgeable, though he has very strong views, especially as far as South Asia is concerned. He's extremely sort of in favor of India. So one track that Rubio has been pursuing is the normal foreign policy track, heavily influenced by his own mindset and his own perceptions of issues. The second track is Trump's own track. Trump has his own foreign policy. He's kind of freelancing foreign policy. He doesn't have any great strategic sort of picture in mind. There is no grand design or anything. Foreign policy is essentially for him a series of actions. Now, what a particular action reflects, what policy reflects, it's not very clear. Sometimes it doesn't reflect any policy, and even if it does reflect a policy, what grand design it reflects is not very clear. So it's just moment to moment, issue to issue, depending on his own strong views, how to conduct international relations. He is hung up on tariffs. He's using tariffs as a kind of a theme which runs through the entire gamut of foreign policy, economic, security, strategic. He's using it as a leverage. He's using it as a put pressure on other countries for strategic, for geopolitical reasons. But in his scheme of things, Pakistan had initially not figured at all. So Pakistan initially was being handled in the first stream, that was Rubio's stream. And Rubio, as I told you, was too attached to India. And in any case, initial months of Trump administration, a lot else was going on, and State Department was busy with Middle East war, Ukraine, a lot of restructuring of State Department, a whole lot of confusion. So Pakistan was not really on the radar screen in the first few months. That didn't mean that Pakistan was not important or Pakistan's relationship was bad. No, it's not like that. It's just that they had not focused on Pakistan. Despite Pakistan's best efforts, its contacts, even at the State Department, were no higher than the mid-level officials. There were hardly any visits from Pakistan. So that was the state of relations. Then I think this is my own, I'm not giving you any inside information, my own sort of guess is that perhaps initiative to open up to Pakistan came from two sources. One, most probably from the CENTCOM commander, what is his name, Kureda, and the other from some non-state operatives like Witkoff and all that, with their own agenda in different areas, one on the economic side, other on the defense side. I think that probably combined to bring Pakistan into Trump's radar screen. Otherwise, till then, he was not bothered one way or the other. So for him, except that the help that Pakistan gave in getting hold of that terrorist who masterminded that Abigate bombing in Kabul, which Pakistan drew praise from Trump in his State of Union message. Other than that, Pakistan was not on the radar screen. Pakistan did not really benefit from that help that they gave, except that the general impression was good. So coming from these two sources that I mentioned to you, people like Witkoff on the economics side, like rare earth minerals and crypto, and then secondly, the defense, I think led to the opening up of the contacts. I frankly don't know how General Asim Munir, I mean, is Field Marshal, his visit was arranged, but it was a kind of a first major move to break the ice. With that, I think the State Department also started taking active interest in Pakistan. Pakistan does have an importance for the United States. It has long-standing relationship with the United States, and it's a country whose geopolitical position cannot be ignored. I mean, look at its neighborhood: China, Russia, India, Iran, Afghanistan. So by virtue of its location alone, Pakistan, and not to mention its professional army, which is military, which has helped the United States many times in the past in both the Afghanistan wars. Plus, it has a large middle class, a big population, so good market also, and not to mention its nuclear capability. And of course, there are some negative reasons also for which Pakistan deserves attention, if not importance, like the sort of presence of some of these extremist organizations. So all these things brought Pakistan also into focus at the State Department. So finally, Rubio and Pakistani foreign minister had a conversation. It took long, but they had a conversation. So I would say a number of factors combined to make this thaw in the relations. Where it is going, it's too early to tell. I would not say the relations have been reset, but certainly there are indications that they are being reset. So I would leave it at that.
Great. So there's something you touched upon, which was Asim Munir's visit to Washington. Um, if you could just expand on this particular development, what was the reaction like in Washington to this visit? And overall, how important do you think it was?
The reaction to the visit in Washington was not so much as to what transpired in the meeting, because nobody knows about the sort of contents of the meeting. There was no public announcement, there was no press conference. So those discussions remain confidential, but it did attract a lot of media attention. So to that extent, I think it served Trump's purpose. Trump's foreign policy, as I mentioned before, is actually a foreign policy made for the television. He wants an impactful foreign policy, and for him, nothing is more impactful than how it is played on television. So it's, in many respects, it's a kind of, he's a showman. And that is how his base understands foreign policy also, the way he talks, the way he gives orders to foreign leaders, the way he looking as if the world is at his feet, and he every day he's without his sort of ordering the world would not move. So that kind of feeling is appreciated by his base, because his base feels that America was not well respected before Trump has come and brought a lot of respect and fear for America. So in this particular case, the fact that he had never, in my recollection at least, invited any visiting military chief from any country to a White House for lunch was a big news. And the sort of apparent reason that he gave was that he wanted to talk to him about Iran. But in my view, I don't think that was really the reason, because he had already decided, I think, at that point to attack Iran's nuclear sites. When he said, and that was said before Asim Munir's visit, that I will decide in 2 weeks whether to attack or not. So I was very clear at that time when he made this announcement that the decisions had already been made, because you don't need 2 weeks to decide whether you're going to attack. That 2 weeks was just for an element of surprise. But that was the rationale he gave. So that also brought a lot of attention to the meeting. So in other words, meeting, because he said that nobody knows Iran better than Pakistan. The meeting was an opportunity to get the TV attention, get the media attention, for a number of reasons, because of Iran, because of the fact that such a meeting had never taken place in the White House. I remember in 2013, Nawaz Sharif visited Washington, and it took a lot of effort by the embassy to have the White House host a lunch for him. They were not even giving him lunch. Obama was just sort of willing to have a meeting, but no lunch. And here you see an army chief being feted in the White House. So many things produce a high visibility, high profile meeting. Now, as to the contents of the meeting, as I said, there are no public record, no public announcement from the Pakistani side. Apparently, only Asim Munir and his national security advisor, who was also DDI side, they were present. And how the meeting was arranged, it was not arranged through any conventional diplomatic means. I am very sure no request was made by the embassy or by the Foreign Office for such a meeting, because such requests had never been made and never been entertained. So probably this meeting was arranged, if I could use this word, through some back door. And back door was, as I mentioned, one of the perhaps these non-state operatives who were very close to Trump. They arranged it for their own reasons. So, but at least one effect is already visible. Pakistan's sort of visits from Pakistan have started, and especially cooperation on the defense side. Counterterrorism cooperation is doing well. So you could say that the visit had some visible effect, although what transpired in the meeting is not known.
Thank you. I think you've given a very clear outline of the context behind it. There is something you mentioned about the role of non-state actors who are obviously advocating to Trump and his advisors about potential areas of collaboration with Pakistan. Could you perhaps highlight some of the areas that the US and Pakistan are collaborating on at the moment? I know you mentioned about terrorism and what in your mind would be the major tensions that still exist at this present time?
A good question, Saad. The areas of collaboration are of two kinds. One that have always been present traditionally, and that is Pakistan's role in Afghanistan stabilization, Pakistan's cooperation in counter-terrorism, Pakistan's cooperation in making sure that the jihadist elements in Pakistan are controlled or weakened and they don't sort of uh, join any international, transnational terrorist outfits in posing threat to global or American security. So I think in that respect, Pakistan's role has always been acknowledged, and Pakistan has given reasonably good help, depending on its own interests as well as its own capabilities. Uh, the United States, this is a kind of help which is ongoing and it's will continue. Then United States is the leading export destination for Pakistan, which is very critically important for Pakistan. United States' role in the IMF, World Bank, is also very important, and Pakistan leads these two organizations. Currently, I think trade talks are going on between Pakistan and United States, and so far we have not heard anything negative. Pakistan was under 29% tariffs by Trump. So I think some kind of renegotiation is going on so that this figure could be brought down, because this figure would be very damaging for Pakistan. 29% is too high. Pakistan's economy cannot bear this kind of this level of tariffs. Then you have at the geopolitical level, Pakistan's relationship with China is also of interest to the United States. Not that the United States wants Pakistan not to have any relationship with China. No, I think the United States basically is concerned of two things. One, that Pakistan does not become overly dependent on China. There is no space for relations with the United States. And secondly, which is also the same, saying the same thing differently, that Pakistan-China cooperation doesn't lead to anything harmful for U.S. interests. So there are red lines. These red lines are not announced, but certainly they are unspoken but known to both sides. Another factor is that Pakistan basically wants, the United States basically wants Pakistan not to support any activity by any non-state actors that could destabilize India, because the destabilized India is harmful to the Indo-Pacific strategy. So in that sense, Pakistan's role to make sure that it does not allow any militant organizations to act against India is helpful to the United States also. Then Pakistan is a big market for investment. Pakistan has been a sort of recipient of American investment. America is one of the largest investors. And now they're talking of rare earth minerals, cryptos and all that. So there are new areas and old areas. Basically, the prospects of expansion in relations is being seriously considered by the United States. Nothing earth-shaking has happened yet, but the developments point to possible improvements in the future.
So with that in mind, I think a good place to conclude would be to um, again ask you, going forward, uh, is it possible that the US and Pakistan will be able to create a more stable relationship that is also mutually beneficial?
It is possible, and but it will require a lot of effort by both sides. In one sense, I think the recent India-Pakistan conflict and the way Pakistan held its own and did very well in that conflict has not only raised Pakistan's prestige, but I think in some senses it probably will force the United States to have another look at uh, Pakistan's place in South Asia, because the approach towards Pakistan was dominated far too much by Obama and Biden, by India's influence. They thought that the best way to ensure stability in South Asia is to allow India to establish its hegemony. I think Pakistan's performance in the recent conflict has proven that that hegemony thing is not going to succeed. Pakistan needs to be treated independently of India. And in fact, a certain degree of uh, balance of power in South Asia might be in America's interest, because if you leave the field clear to India, who knows, at some point in future, Indian interests and American interests might diverge or conflict. So if United States wants to maintain its own interests, free from influence from India, it needs to acknowledge Pakistan's role in providing a certain balance of power in the region, which will contribute to stability. Stability of the region is important for the United States, not only for what impact it will have on Pakistan, but most importantly, the impact it will have on India and the Indo-Pacific strategy as well, because stability will sort of stabilize Indo-Pacific strategy also. So I think going forward, I see uh, these sort of South Asian stability as a factor in America's calculations. And second, the possibility of investment. Uh, because Trump at least doesn't seem to be as obsessed with uh, geopolitics and containment of China, and because that was making the situation a bit untenable or uncertain for Pakistan. So Pakistan can relax for now that there will be no such pressure that either you are with us or against us, that kind of thing. So I think if Trump is able to bring a certain degree of um stability globally, in the sense that it sort of it drops its obsession with keeping America as the leading power in the world and maintaining its sort of primacy through uh, military means and through strategic means. It might be good for the good region and good for Pakistan.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Ambassador.
Thank you, Saad, and thank you, Said. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. You were listening to South Asia Chat. You can learn more about our work by visiting us at isas.nus.edu.sg. You can also get updates on our research and publications through social media. You can find us on X, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram.